I'm going to Google that. How old was Soon Yi?
Like you take this so personally, like you're Woody Allen's agent or something.
I'm not. I just I hate that they're fucking milking this shit. I hate this as much as like another OJ movie or Charles Manson movie.
Well, you know the whole thing with this is that they found all this footage in the attorney's office that had not been seen. So it's not the same shit that you've seen over and over. This is new shit has come to light, dude. Does
it show him diddling Dylan?
No.
All right. Soon Yi was 7 years old when he started dating. Wait a minute.
When he started dating her? Yeah, he was.
All right. So they started dating in 1980. So how old was Soon Yi? 10 years old. She was 10 years old in 1979 when they started dating.
So, yeah.
Oh, you're going to grow up to be a hot, tasty piece of Asian slam meat.
So, come on, Tim. Come on.
Hey, at least we got a title.
I believe Woody. Y'all can watch the documentary and believe crazy Mia Farrow.
I believe what I've seen Woody Allen movies. I mean, he's been saying this shit his whole life.
What he's been molesting 7-year-olds in all of his movies?
Always some older guy who's infatuated with some young, beautiful. It's always the same shit.
But is she 7?
You can't do that, Tim.
I know you can.
Maybe if it was status quo that you could make a rom-com about a 7-year-old and an old man, he would have did it.
You can do that. You can do that if it's an older man and a boy, they'll let you get away with it, but not a grown man and a young girl.
What was it, Harold and Maude?
Yeah, but that was an old lady.
Right.
Get out of here.
And the kid was still a teenager. He was at least a teenager.
Give me something good like My Tutor, or what's that movie with the kid and Howard Hessman? Howard Hessman's the limo driver. What's that, Jeff?
Private Lessons.
Yeah, that's the movie I want to see. Anyway, we'll fight more about Woody Allen later. Hey, I want to thank our guests who were with us last week. We had Josh Warren and Brad Binkley. Josh Warren from Action Show Studios, Brad Binkley from the Propaganda Report podcast. They each have their own YouTube channels and are both creative dudes. So hopefully, if you missed it, you'll go back and listen to it. It was a lot of fun.
It was a good show. I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. I hope we didn't spoil anything for you, because I was talking to you earlier today and you haven't finished The Head yet.
Not really. I mean, I just kind of skimmed those areas to make sure that it wouldn't be spoiled. But no, I still have not. But no, the actual, I thought you guys had a lot of fun little repartee.
Yeah.
It was good. I watched the video. I didn't actually listen to the podcast. Watch the YouTube video.
Oh, cool.
Some of Dustin's editing magic.
Yeah, Dustin does a good job on the YouTube video.
Thank you.
So we have at least one view.
Yeah, that's where that view came from.
I watched it.
I wondered who that was.
When you watch our video on YouTube, you should retweet it or post it on your Facebook page so your friends can also do that.
Mm-hmm. You're not talking to me. You're talking to our listeners, right?
Yeah, and you.
Nobody. I've tried. You know, and everybody that's on my Facebook is my family who doesn't give a shit, or my dog people who don't give a shit. There's no point in me even putting it on there. There's no point.
I'm just talking about the listeners, viewers. Viewers.
They could have seen Tommy in some of those videos.
That's right. Oh, speaking of which, Tommy, is he gone?
He is gone. I gave him to the new foster yesterday. She is a lovely woman with 7 other puppies at her house.
Oh my God.
She's a very nice large home. She works from home. And so.
Does she have to be on Zoom when she's working? Because that dog is just going to whine the whole time, right?
I don't think so. And I think her house is big enough to where she can put him in another wing. They can't hear the puppy. Unlike on our house, it's not like that. You're going to hear him at one end of the house or the other end of the house, basically. But I miss him. He just, with our schedule change, it was not good for a puppy to be in a crate for 8 hours a day, especially Tommy.
Yeah, he didn't look like he wanted to be in a crate.
He had a lot of
Been
anxiety.
chained to a tree for the last 6 months. What are you doing, lady?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
is Pickle back at work now?
And Pickle is working at another.
Yeah.
He's working at another job. He went back to work at a crap job that he hated, and then he just kept looking, and now he's found a job that he loves.
Cool.
So, but yeah, it's longer hours and whatever.
Pickle.
Yeah, you got to put in your dues when you're first starting out a new place.
Why are we calling it Pickle again?
It's Jeff saw a text that I got from him on my phone, and is my nickname for Neil is I call him Pickle, and Jeff saw it come up and he was like, Pickle. And so ever since then, Jeff has adopted my name that I've called my husband for these 24 years.
Thanks, Pickle Barrel Ass.
I pickled they.
I pickled it. Yeah, the classic Turkey Boys. Hey, if you'd like to become a Radio Labyrinth Patreon member, you can go to patreon.com/Tim Andrews. There's all sorts of levels you can join in. If you join in at the $25 level, you will be a producer of the show, and you'll get a t-shirt of your choice from our Store Frontier store, and also read in our semi-weekly recap of people who are producers. And let's see what else. Follow us on social media at Radio_Labyrinth on Twitter, Radio Labyrinth on Facebook. We also have the super secret page, what's not really a secret, that Dustin runs. It is called the Radio Shack. Anything else we need to mention? Steph, did you put that in there?
What?
About Wendy?
I did, yes.
Go ahead.
And Amber.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say Wendy Mueller, she's been with us since the jump, right?
Yeah, she's an OG.
She is an OG. Wendy is awesome. She had to put her dear, beloved little Minnie down last week. And I just want to say RIP Minnie. She was a little cutie pants. And Wendy did everything she could for her in these last few months. But, it sucks, man. They never live long enough. So I just want to say sorry to Wendy. We know that really broke her heart. And Amber's dad, Amber Gilpatrick, her dad is in ICU right now. So if you can send some good vibes for Amber's dad, he could really use it right now.
Everybody send good vibes to Miss Gilpatrick's dad. Please send good vibes. And if you're friends with her and stuff on Facebook, let her know that you're doing that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So when we started the show, we were bickering back and forth about Woody Allen. These guys all think that that I support child molestation, and but I don't at all.
Broad strokes, Tim. Very broad strokes there.
Yeah, Sunyi's good at broad strokes. I've never been able to do a Woody Allen impression. Who's done the best Woody Allen impressions? I'd have to say, who do you think, Jeff?
I don't know.
No,
everybody does them, but
Owen Wilson did a pretty good one at Midnight in Paris, even though.
Oh, he did?
Well, I mean, he was basically playing Woody.
Oh. I'm trying to think who did. Okay, I know Andy Dick did a really good one. If you guys remember they did a they did a send up of husbands and wives on the Ben Stiller show. Remember that? And but they were all monsters, and like from monster movies. And the Woody Allen character was played by Andy Dick, who was a mummy. And you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny. I think Rick Moranis does. I think the best one I've ever heard, though. Especially if you watch those old SCTV, or he wants to do an on the road picture with Bob Hope. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and a great impression of Woody Allen. But these days, Woody Allen's doing his best impression of somebody who will never work again. I think the cascade of social media condemnation and this latest documentary are going to sink him, but he may sue. I've been reading in the New York Times, but New York Times is the only paper of note that I've seen that allowed he and Sunyi Previn to respond to this, and they both said it's bullshit. And so I'm not going to watch the documentary because to me it's, I like Woody. I don't believe Mia Farrow, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I posted something on Twitter. I posted a GIF of a guy beating a dead horse when I saw this, posted from the LA Times. That wasn't a smart idea because I just got inundated with, you support child, blah, 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 you're an evil man. But my point wasn't so much that that Woody or that his daughter or whatever the hell she is didn't get justice. It was like, come on. I mean, they've been telling this tale over and over again for years and years and years. And that's what I meant by it. But even one of the documentarians who made that film jumped in and said, we offered Woody and Moses Farrow an opportunity to comment on this. They declined. But anyway, I mean, you guys were yelling at me before. Come on.
Go ahead, Jeff. You're watching it.
Yeah, I'm giving the documentary a chance. I mean, I have an open mind. I like Woody Allen's movies, and I don't really have an opinion on him personally.
I think he's creepy for dating his ex-girlfriend's daughter. Certainly. I mean, she was 19, he was 50. That's kind of bizarre, right?
Sure. And the fact that she was 10 when he met her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just lived around her for so long. It just doesn't scream normal.
Let's just see if this kid's a girl, Tim. Let's see if Timmy has a daughter, and let's see what Timmy says then.
I'm not going to let whoever or whatever gender get anywhere near Woody Allen.
But why? If there's nothing to worry about, if you don't believe it.
Since the child won't be Asian, Mia Farrow won't come anywhere near it.
Tim, I'd like to offer my services as a babysitter.
No. No, thank you, Woody. You're too old. I don't think you could even lift a child at your age. What are you, 80? One of my favorite things that came out of this whole affair was the old Howard Stern show character, Wood Yee, which was massively offensive and you would never hear today on the radio. Anytime he'd have an Asian porn star or actress on the show, Wood Yee, who worked at K-Rock, would come in and say all sorts of offensive things that were written by someone else, of course. But it was funny. It was very, very funny. So anyway, maybe I should watch it. But there's so many documentaries that have been released lately that have pissed me off. The Britney Spears one, which really amounted to nothing but a bunch of people on social media creating a hashtag, so they made a movie about it. And, yeah, I think that her father is evil.
The Patrice O'Neill documentary I watched this weekend was really good.
See, that's a real thing. I'd love to see that. Was it good?
Yeah, it's on Comedy Central on demand or on the Comedy Central app.
Huh.
It was very good.
Well, the other one that amounted to jack shit was that stupid one about the evil hotel, where all I could take away from that is that this poor girl left home, didn't have her meds, and accidentally killed herself. But if you look at social media, I don't like that woman that runs the hotel. She's sketchy.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's stupid.
Cecil Baskins.
Yes. That's great. I saw that. Did you come up with that?
Yeah.
Okay, then I didn't see it. I just heard it for the first time. I saw something akin to that, but that's great. Cecil Baskins.
I would equate the way that you feel about this documentary to how I felt about Finding Neverland. I didn't really want to believe that Michael Jackson would diddle kids, but I still watched the documentary, and I still don't believe he diddled kids.
Same here. I don't believe
what I'm saying, but I watched the documentary anyway to see what they were, and it was well done, but there was just too much to it that made me feel like that was manufactured. So I get where you're coming from.
But even more to me than the subject matter is where this originates from. And it originates from and then you get all the people on social media. He's to get in trouble. I'm going to tell. Okay, I get it. You don't like him and you want justice. Well, go back in history and look at all the times they went to court. So was there justice? Just not the justice that you wanted. So I'm sorry about that, but I understand. And if it helps save other people, then that's great too, So at least
that's
there's something good can come out of it. Let's move on to something a little less rapey.
Are you reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
I got it for Christmas. Why? Why are you bringing it up?
Because you of all people need that book.
I know. That's why I have it in the hopper over here.
I've got the audiobook. I'm in my queue. I just haven't listened to it yet.
Page 1. Let's see what it says on page 1. Stop looking at Twitter, you stupid asshole. Page 2. Stop looking at 4chan, you stupid asshole. Page 3. Stay off of Reddit. It's not worth it, even though they have the most pornography of any site in the world. Page 4. See page 1. Stay off of Twitter. I don't give a fuck if I read that book. All right. No, I want to read it, but I have another book that I'm really excited to read. It's called We're Parents, The New Dad's Guide to Baby's First Year.
Oh,
It should be the old dad's guide.
Well, I looked for those and they didn't have any. And then I called Woody Allen. He goes, I can't help. Got any advice for being a shitty dad?
Learn how to change the diapers.
Yeah, I've done that before. I just used to go to people's homes when they were sleeping and go inside and change their child's diapers. No, I've had, when I first moved to Atlanta, the people that I lived with, they had a baby, and I had to change a diaper one time. I think I told that story, didn't I? Where I took the baby and
in the shower with the dog hair.
Pretty gross. Something
now
else.
Jim's married to that baby.
Woody Allen's married. Soon you're too old. Gross. So the Muppets are going to Disney Plus. All the original episodes of the Muppet show. Remember that show that we all grew up on? I don't really know if a network carried it. It was a syndicated show as far as I can tell. But it was on here and there. And I don't really remember what channel specifically aired it, just that a bunch of them did.
I felt like it was on ABC, but then Muppet Babies was on CBS. So that made me question whether it was really on ABC or not.
Well, the reboot, you know, where they had the Muppet with AIDS in the 90s, that was on ABC. That was the big deal. The show got canceled. He was like an aardvark with AIDS, and he had dreadlocks. That's what it was. If you don't believe me, Google.
It's like Pedro from the Real World, Part 3.
Yeah, it's like, hey, the Muppet Show's back, and we have a Muppet that has AIDS. Well, good thing he's a Muppet because he's never going to die.
Brought to you by Duchovny for PrEP.
Yeah, Duchovny for. Brought to you by Dr. Fauci.
If you're going to get AIDS, Muppet AIDS would be the best kind to get, I would think.
Yeah, I guess. But that's all I remember about that show. But I'm talking about the OG Muppet Show, the one that was on in the 70s and 80s.
I heard people bitching that the seasons are out of order, the episodes are out of order and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how you would know that because...
Yeah, I don't know why that would matter. There wasn't like a continuing storyline between episodes.
Well, one thing that we all know is that shows made in that time need disclaimers on them. A show for kids that was made in the 70s and 80s has a disclaimer in front of some of the episodes. Disney felt that it was important to slap some of these on there to let people know that this was a different time and there are depictions of cultures that might upset some people. I don't know, what, like a pig in a rocket or a dog that plays the piano in a bar. Shit like that. So I looked into it, and there's one scene of Johnny Cash playing guitar in front of a Confederate flag, which makes sense because at the time he was a country singer in the South, and da 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 da. I don't think he had it up, and he's like, "Let's lock all these Muppets up." So I think that's a little ridiculous. The other thing is there's offensive depictions of Native Americans, Middle Easterners, and Asian people. You might also say, conversely, that they're fucking puppets. And what they were doing was showing that
especially Gonzo, he was fucking chicken puppets, left and right.
No, they're fucking puppets. And what that was doing was showing that it's a multicultural world. Because back in the 70s and 80s, most stuff was still pretty fucking white, right? For the majority. Like you'd have the commercial for Capri Sun. And it would be 17 white kids, one African-American kid, and then an Asian girl. And they're usually in the back. And that's how commercials were done. Like Hungry Hungry Hippos commercial. That was the racial makeup and everything. But then
the black kid was the marbles.
Yeah. I win. Get out of the house. Or, when... But my point is that they weren't mocking those cultures. I don't think they're mocking them. I think they're just showing them. Or, this is this and this. And that's how things were done.
Yeah, it was their way of introducing those cultures to to a white bread America that didn't get to see them. I grew up in East Tennessee. I didn't really see. Honestly, I didn't really see black people until I was in my teens. I mean, there just wasn't any that lived there.
Growing up in rural Pennsylvania,
right? Exactly. So when you're getting these cultures, brought to you through Muppets, through things that are just, the most innocuous, things that you could get it conduit wise. Yeah, you're going to have some stereotypical, showing of these things because they're trying to put a point across. And at the time, that's what they were doing.
And right. And also you have to consider the source. Do you think Jim Henson was some sort of racist who liked mocking other cultures? No, he created Sesame Street, what did Sesame Street do in addition to teaching you how to read and other things? It taught you that on any given street in America, there's more than just white people living on it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There were kids from all different walks of life. There was a green, hairy thing that lived in a garbage can. There was a giant talking bird. There was a woolly mammoth that no one could see. But my point being is that Sesame Street was educational and it was multicultural, and they even taught you Spanish. I mean, where's the first time you ever heard Spanish in your life when you were a kid? Me? Sesame Street. Abierto, cerrado. Abierto, cerrado. I mean, come on. But so, I mean, it really doesn't matter that much. And the other thing is who's watching the Muppet Show, but people over 30 years old. Can you think of anybody under 30, 35, who's going to watch those old Muppet shows? That show's for
parents might put it on for their kids.
Right. Who probably can't read yet, can't read that disclaimer. I don't know. I just think it's dumb.
That disclaimer's on Dumbo as well. And it's also on a lot of those original Disney animated features. They're slapped on there as well.
I will say that's Disney and the Crows are why that's on there, correct? Because the Crows are Jim Crow type people.
You ain't my baby.
Yeah, we're crows. I mean, that makes sense to me. For the same reason that Disney's never going to put Song of the South on Disney Plus. Because it's extremely, I mean, if you go and look at the history of how that movie came about, first of all, they stole it from a guy that, wrote all those stories down here, who probably stole it from someone else. I mean, I've read that story, but it's really, really racist. and the depiction of that kind of stuff is terrible. But, you're looking at the 40s and 30s, 40s, 50s, that's the way America was. Certainly Disney, I don't know. I'm dragging it down, but I thought it'd be fun to come up with some reasons why we should cancel some of these Muppets. Did anybody write any other than me?
I did a few at the three at the end. Those are mine.
All right. Before we get to that, though, I just wanted us to list our favorite Muppet movies. The only Muppet movie that I like is the Muppet movie, the first one. I didn't really like any of the others.
That was the same as you. Mm-hmm. Just that first movie, I didn't care for the foray into Christmas or the
Great Muppet,
the niche ones. Yeah, the caper. Yeah, I like the original one. It was best.
I like the Muppets Take Manhattan, probably.
Yeah, the first three are good. The Muppet movie, Great Muppet Caper, and Muppets Take Manhattan. After that,
you put that. You put what did you put?
I said Emmett Otter's Show Grand Christmas, but it's not really a movie.
But it's Muppets, yeah, and
they did some amazing shit with the Muppets, like had them riding bikes and swimming and shit.
The rock bands,
yeah. Empire Strikes Back could be a Muppet movie.
Yeah,
true.
But Dark Crystal, definitely, that was a good movie.
The movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Shit. So creepy.
Yeah. I know. I felt the same way. I was like, get away from me. My favorite Muppet Show bit or scene was always Pigs in Space. I loved Pigs in Space. When it would come on, I'd yell along with it, and I liked I liked the real, like the jocular pig who talked like this, and then he had the Dr. Pig that sounded like this, and it was just fun.
And they completely took that for what was it? Futurama. Didn't they totally use that?
Oh, yeah, that ship. Absolutely. I never thought about that till you just said it. Is it true? It's the same ship, isn't it? Just different color.
I think so. And he's definitely a giant pig for sure.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I like Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah. Insulting each other. They were funny.
And heckling.
I was a Swedish Chef fan.
He's canceled. Negative stereotypes of Swedes.
I always liked anything with animal. Just anytime they'd show Animal, they always crack me up. Or the band in general, but yeah, mostly Animal.
I liked Animal too.
Yeah, the Electric Mayhem were great.
Mhm.
I saw them in concert one time. I tripping balls. And then when it wore off, it was like fucking Air Supply. So I came up with a couple of reasons to cancel these big Muppet stars. Fozzie Bear, because he beats off in front of groupies. But he asks first. Waka waka. Bert and Ernie, non-consensual avian sex trafficking. Whether it is a rubber duck or a pigeon. Big Bird, who lures his victims to his nest with a make-believe mammoth. Miss Piggy is just abusive to her staff, always karate chopping them.
She seems very Ellenish.
Yeah, a little Ellenish, little Tyra Banks throwing telephones.
More windy.
Yeah. Sam the Eagle, who he refuses to accept the results of the election. He's in QAnon. He's a blue supremacist. And then here's my last one. Dr. Teeth is a masochist. He forced Solly Struthers into a threesome with Animal. Now, these I read, and I wondered who wrote them. And now that I know who wrote them, it makes perfect sense. Go ahead, read them.
The Swedish chef, because he made Swedish meatballs that were actual human nutsack balls for Army Hammer. And Gonzo, for the anti-Semitic comments he made about his own nose.
He was a self-hating Jewish person.
And Statler and Waldorf for inappropriate touching of Muppet babies.
And I'm not
allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Statler, Waldorf, and Ellen.
Kermit should be put away for bestiality.
Well, he's a beast.
Well, right?
I don't like
I
him.
think you can do that for Frog on Pig.
I don't like
He just likes pressed ham. It's all right.
Species cross-pollinate each other. That ain't right. That should be God, something or other. All right. So that's our Muppet movie, Muppet talk. I don't know. Watch the Muppets if you like the Muppets. If you don't like them, don't worry about it and just not care, I guess. I don't know. Everything's going to have a disclaimer sooner or later. So
I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Scrubs when it moves to Disney Plus, because they got all those blackface episodes and
they'll them on. I mean, they own Family Guy. How many episodes of Family Guy do you think especially earlier episodes, are going to need that disclaimer? Or do they not put them on there?
They won't. No, they won't. They will never be on there, I don't think.
Or The Simpsons. They're going to have to do it to The Simpsons, which, by the way, they've corrected a mistake after 31 years. Harry Shearer is no longer going to be voicing Dr. Hibbert.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, how long does that show have? Do you think that show will ever end, The Simpsons?
I mean, everything ends.
It's weird now because this most recent episode they had Edna Krabappel talking.
Who's the voice?
They used just technology to make her.
Didn't they kill her off in the show?
Yeah, she's dead on the show, but they found her diary, and so they were doing flashbacks.
So they used technology, or they found old reads?
I think they did a mix of that, of old lines and technology to make her speak.
They could probably mine the Bob Newhart show too. They want to get technical.
Yeah.
So hi everybody, it's time for Rad Libs. I'm the Red Boxx Troll. And I'm a little sleepy today, but we just went ahead and we're just gonna do this. And you basically, the thing is, it's like Mad Libs, except it's dirtier, and it's usually a scene from a movie or a monologue from a film. And this is what this one is, a monologue from a film. So if you guys are ready, I'll ask you real quick. You guys got your answers ready?
I got mine.
Ready.
All right, Steph, 80s pop song.
Putting on the Ritz.
Jeff, modern gender.
Gender queer. Oh, you sent Dustin the same ones?
No, I sent Dustin different ones. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Are you guys ready?
Do it.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do the voice. It's hard for me because I'm not an impressionist really, but I'm going to try to do it. Tell you what putting on the Ritz is about. It's all about a genderqueer who digs a transgender with a chartreuse pinky toe. The entire song is a metaphor for chartreuse pinky toes.
Putting on the Ritz is not about some gentle broad who meets a mob simp. That's what tearing up my heart's about. Now, granted, no argument about that. Let me tell you what putting on the Ritz is about. It's all about this hussy who's a regular dildo machine. I'm talking morning, day, night, afternoon, pinky toe, 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 pinky toe. Then one day they meet this cisgendered James Garner uncle fucker. And it's like, whoa, baby. I mean, this platypus is like Army Hammer and toy soldiers. He's digging nipples. They're digging the serious pinky toe action, and they're slurping something they ain't slurped since forever. Nausea. It rots. It rots her. It shouldn't rot her. You know, her large vulva should be Hershey's Kisses by now. But when this platypus bites them, it rots. It rots just like it did the first time. You see, the nausea is reminding a dildo machine what it was once like to be a gerbil. Hence, putting on the Ritz.
More dogs.
Yes.
That was good.
You guys like that one?
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was real good.
All right. So from now on, I guess we can just skip the whole part where I ask you guys for the words and stuff, because I'm not good at organizing that stuff. I'm kind of stupid about that.
Stop.
I love it. And the reason I sent him separately is because I figured if I put them all in order, you might be able to figure out quickly what I was. Because, I mean, you might have been able to figure it out just based on the clues.
As soon as you, well, I kind of knew, but then when you did pinky toe, pinky toe, pinky toe, I knew it was the Madonna speech, the like a virgin speech.
Dick, 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 dick.
They're slurping something they ain't slurped since forever.
Nausea. It rots. It really shouldn't. You know, her large vulva should be Hershey's Kisses by now.
So anyway, there's Rad Libs. All right. So what did everybody watch this weekend? Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I watched that Patrice O'Neill documentary, Killing is Easy, it's called. It's on Comedy Central. I recommend it.
Who produced that?
I don't know. I'm not sure who produced it.
Was it Bill Burr?
Bill Burr's in it. So is just about everybody. Jim Norton, Colin Quinn,
Cool.
Gary Gallman. Just anybody you could think of. Bobby Kelly.
Was Mark Maron in it?
No, Maron wasn't in it.
O and A, they're not in it either?
Oh, Opie and Anthony are both in it.
Oh, cool.
Trying to think who else.
Jesselnick.
No, Anthony Jeselnik. He might come along a little later. But it's all like those Boston Comedy Club people. It was very good. I recommend it. I watched Nomadland, that movie. It's on Hulu. It was, what's her name? Frances McDormand.
Oh, I wanted to watch that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's very good.
Good.
Sad and real.
Yeah, it looked. I watched the trailer and I put it in my queue, and it looked like it had that feel. So I'm glad somebody saw it.
Yeah, she like worked. She lived in this town called Empire, which is, I guess, is a real place.
Mm-hmm.
It was owned by this company. It's Gypsum Company in Nevada, and they went out of business, and the whole town just died.
Mm-hmm.
And then her husband died, and so she's just left with nothing. So she's living in a van down by the river. But the movie was good, and all the people, like all the people that are in it, like her and David Strathairn are the only real actors that are in it. I think everybody else is like a real person.
Go live in the belt.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. It was good. Resident Alien, I'm still watching that. For All Mankind, I couldn't get you to get into that, even though they did a time jump to the 80s, which I thought was pretty cool. That just started this week again on Apple TV Plus. Started watching Pretend It's a City.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just love listening to her talk. She could read the phone book, and I'd dig it.
They need to edit out Martin Scorsese just chuckling all the time.
Just
chuckle quite a bit.
Yeah. I could do without that, but the rest of it's pretty good.
She is just, man, her take on New York City is, I mean, it just makes you, I haven't been to New York City. I've never been there.
Never, ever once?
No, and I don't think I'll ever get to see the New York City that she talks about.
You won't. It's gone.
Right. Like, it makes me sad, but it's nice to hear about it, what it was.
Jeff and I went. I've only been there a handful of times, but the first time I ever went was with Jeff in a church van, like a church group thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 89, right, Jeff? It had to have been. Yeah, it was 89. And we went in the church van, and then Jeff and I went to a bunch of record stores and wandered around. And we went to Washington Square Park. It was kind of dingy then. Dinkins wasn't mayor yet, so I remember people talking about that. But the second time I went, I got robbed, so that was nice. Of course,
is that when they took your cell phone?
No. This is 94. My friend and I went there, and I had cash in my hand, and some dude just grabbed it and walked away, and there was no way of finding him. But we did go to the Ed Sullivan Theater, and that's where Letterman was taping, and we saw Biff Henderson, and then we went down the street and went to that convenience store or that bodega and saw Mujibur and Sirajul, if you remember who those guys were.
Mm-hmm. Who's Biff Henderson?
He was
the stage manager, the black guy that was the stage manager.
Yeah, they were putting a giant empty bathtub underneath Dave's office. You could look up, and we looked up and we saw Dave's head and what's her name, Sandra Bullock. And when we got home that night, we were able to watch the show, and they were dropping things into a bathtub full of pudding.
I went to a David Letterman one time.
You went there, or the other one, the NBC?
The Ed Sullivan Theater one.
Was it as cold in there as they said?
Yeah, it was chilly. Jeff Garland and David Spade were the guests.
Oh, cool.
There was a musical guest too. I forget who she was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm rambling on about going to New York and stuff. But no, it'll never be like it was. Like what she likes the dingy, crappy stuff, right?
She does, but I don't know. It's just the way that she describes it. It makes it sound like it was just such a great time.
Yeah, hanging out with Andy Warhol and getting drunk all the time and smoking wherever you wanted. That would have been great.
And my staff pick is Snowfall comes back this week on FX. Me and Steph both like that show a lot.
I'm hoping that it's going to be really good. I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
I didn't make sure my recording was still set.
Because it ended like it seemed like it was wrapping up pretty tight on the last episode of the last season. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do.
I mean, it's not on the level of Breaking Bad. It's not on that level, but the evolution of the character is a lot to me like Walter White. Is watching Franklin turn into what he's turned into.
Right. And also, Wellington Paranormal comes back this week. There's still no way to watch it in the U.S., but
how come they can't get that sold here?
Jermaine said something on Twitter that they have a network and a streaming service both interested, but he can't say anything yet.
Well, if you want to watch it, use a VPN, right?
That's what I'll be doing on Wednesday.
A VPN and your favorite BitTorrent client.
Yep.
Dustin?
Let's see. I watched WandaVision, the 7th one. I like where it's going only because it's starting to make a little more sense of all the like the kids and
reveal at the end. That was pretty out there.
Yeah. It makes sense because that really ties in the Doctor Strange connection and Mephisto a lot more. She pulls from the same galactic energy that Doctor Strange does. So, but she's not as powerful. It's like she's kind of limited to what she can do, and she's kind of a go-between in the whole Marvel universe. Anyway, she was never been a real character. So the fact that she's been manipulating all this, there's definitely something behind it or someone behind it, which, everyone kind of has been thinking Mephisto since the beginning. So I think that's where it's slowly headed, but we'll see. I mean, these theories have been shot a few times. Everybody's expecting to see a Fantastic Four, appearance show up.
I keep trying to meme Jim from The Office into being Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of those Dreamcast things that came out, once the last Fantastic Four movie fell apart.
Yeah.
And, I think it's one of those fan service things that they could probably pull off and make work. But I'm not holding my breath on that one. I think it'll probably just lead to Mephisto or just lead to Doctor Strange. But we'll see how that one goes. Also,
how many episodes are there left? Because that's 7, right?
That's 7. There's 9 in the season, so there's still 2 more. So the next one will be the penultimate, and it'll probably have a hell of a cliffhanger, and then it'll be the last one.
I liked WandaVision 6, last week's episode. The TV series tie-in was Malcolm in the Middle, and I thought that was cool. This week's was more Modern Family.
Family, yeah.
Yeah, every episode Steph, you're not watching it, but every episode they try to mimic something from a decade.
They do a different theme song or a different opening montage.
But the Malcolm in the Middle one, they really nailed the feel of the intro to that show. I thought it was great.
Yeah, if you ever watch them side by side, I mean, it's almost a carbon copy of the Malcolm in the Middle intro.
Yep.
It's well done. I'll give you guys that. It's very well done. I just don't care.
Yeah, I agree. I watch it and I don't care either. But I really like the stuff going on in the bubble.
I started watching The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that
go ahead.
Is that a rerun of the thing that was on the History Channel, or is it new?
It's the first season, so it's a rerun of what was already on there. It's the same company that does Oak Island.
Right.
So it's this, Prometheus is the name of the production company. So you got the same some of the same people that actually appeared on Oak Island as guest scientists or guest speakers. They're on this show, and a rich guy buys Skinwalker Ranch after the government and the last owner is done with it, and the stuff they're finding on there is pretty amazing as far as something under the ground. Yeah, the beams and the energy that's there that they've actually been able to capture with all the scientific equipment is kind of amazing. But it seems to me, I think it's like something like a large deposit of something that's just causing it. But they're going to milk this for a bunch of seasons.
I'm sure,
just like they did in Oak Island, with still nothing to show for it.
It's interesting to watch, though.
Yeah, it's neat how it pieces together and makes a little more sense out of cattle mutilations. That's kind of always been a mysterious thing, but when they actually show you what it actually is and how, a bunch of them that they've cataloged, it starts making a little more sense.
And that main guy is engaging. That main doctor guy or whatever. Yeah,
and he's from Huntsville. And so he's the one kind of country guy in the middle of all these guys in Colorado, which is always funny. He'll say something with a real southern twang, and half of them will be like, "What'd you say?" But let's see, it's pretty good. I'll keep up with it. And against my better judgment, I started watching Clarice, and I actually enjoyed the first episode. There's 2 episodes out now. I watched the second one, and I think I'm going to nope out of it for the same reasons that Tim figured out in the first 5 minutes. But I kind of like the way that the look of it, and it was kind of a neat concept that, you see what happens to Clarice a year after, how all of her coworkers were treating her because she had all this attention and was able to solve this thing. But it's one of those things where, you do the big thing right off the bat, and the rest of your life you're having to back that up and be that person. And I thought that was how it was going to run the whole time. But as soon as they, found elbow room, it just became kind of a soapbox for political stuff.
No.
So I'm probably gonna nope out of it. It is kind of neat the way that they're putting it together, and I like some of the actors and stuff they have in there. They're using a good mix of people, and how they brought back in Buffalo Bill and Hannibal without actually referencing them, head on, was kind of a neat way to do it. But the girl just is a little too much.
Yeah, that fake Southern accent.
Yeah. Star Trek Discovery, I'm still in that. I can't stop watching it. It's one of those, I find myself watching it on the phone if I have, 20, 30 minutes to set somewhere.
That good, huh?
Yeah.
Finished the first season, or I'm at the end of the first season. And it took me until the end of the first season to realize who that guy was, who you haven't seen it, have you, Tim?
I don't care if you spoil it, though.
Well, the guy that turns out to be the Klingon. I didn't realize that was Clem Fandango from Toast of London with Matt Berry.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
It's the same actor, and it just blew my mind. That was him. But it's really good. I mean, I'm kind of impressed that I can get into a Star Trek series again. I thought after Next Generation, I was just going to be out of luck. But
wait till you get to the Captain Pike stuff, man. You're going to be blown away even further.
I can't wait. Let's see. Meat Eater on Netflix. Season 9 started. I watched a couple of those. Again, just the outdoor, it's outdoor hunting survival stuff. And then The Watch. I also tried to watch an episode of The Watch. It seems like it's trying to be something that it's not. It's trying real hard to be like Preacher or Doctor Who. But it just doesn't have, I don't know. It doesn't, it's like the jokes don't land very well. It seems like the characters are real characters, but they don't interconnect real well, but it just didn't really hit me. I didn't really care for it that much. Go ahead.
I forgot to mention, I started watching that Tribes of Europa on Netflix, and that, I don't know if it's made by the same people that made Dark, but it's got some of the same actors from Dark. I think you should check it out. Yeah, Tribes of Europa.
I'll check that one out. And my staff pick is Debris. Starts on, I thought it started tonight, but it starts next Monday on NBC.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, same people that made The Fringe. So it's about some space debris that lands, and it busts into hundreds of pieces, but each piece has power, and if you touch it, it activates it. And so it looks like kind of like an X-File-ish, but I just hope it's written well.
It's got that guy from Justified, and I forget what other show he was on, but the main character guy was on Justified.
But it starts on NBC next Monday.
Cool. Steph.
I watched that movie with Rosamund Pike on Netflix. I Care a Lot.
That looks good.
It was so much fun. It's so mean. It's so nasty.
I love that.
Yeah, and Dinklage is in it, and Diane Wiest.
Oh.
She's fantastic in it. So I highly recommend I Care a Lot. Very good, great ending. And blah, blah, blah. I started watching that Tell Me Your Secrets with the chick from American Horror Story. She's been in a bunch of those. The blonde. She was just in that. What's the one with Nicole Kidman? The Undoing. She played the friend, the lawyer friend or whatever.
Was it good?
No.
Oh.
I watched maybe 2 episodes, and it's very over the top. I gave up on it. I was done with it. I'm watching Behind Her Eyes right now. That's a Netflix series, and it's a weird British show. I don't know what the hell's going on, but there's a bunch of crazy people and a bunch of weird psychological crap. I don't know what it is yet, but it's got me entertained. And then my stat pick was the Alan versus Farrow, which Tim has shredded from the inception of the show here. But that was my staff pick.
Be like me and watch the documentary and have an open mind.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, and the last thing I was going to say, I finally listened to, it was a Rob Lowe, literally from October, the one with Alec Baldwin, which I'm sure you listened to, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have not laughed, guffawed like that at a podcast. Baldwin, when he's telling the story about when he had filmed the scene for Glengarry Glen Ross, and Adam Arkin comes in the room, and they're all just kind of hanging out, right? It's after the scene, and he comes in, and he just goes, "Out there, in here, my God." And he just walks out of the room.
Alec Baldwin is so fucking funny.
Oh my God. And him and Rob, they have such great rapport, and they know a lot of the same people. And he basically interviews Rob. He gets Rob to tell him all kinds of stories. So it's really good. The story about when Rob met Warren Beatty and realized that he was banging Melissa Gilbert, his girlfriend. Yep. That was a great story.
Whoa.
So I highly recommend, if you didn't listen to the October Rob Lowe Literally with Alec Baldwin, listen to it. It's hilarious.
Every episode's great, but there's some standout ones like that Alec Baldwin one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go. I like Jeff said earlier, I tried to watch American Women on the Moon.
That's called For All Mankind, Tim.
Yeah. Cool. I watched 4.5 minutes of Clarice, and I quid pro noped. Can't mention Hannibal. There's no point in it because the story is anyway about both of them. WandaVision, I do love WandaVision, but to me it's a dual show. You have Inside, which I think is very creative, a lot of cool shit's going on, and then you have Outside, which is like a shitty network television procedural show. I think it's really overdrawn, and the broke waitress actress, I can't remember her name.
Kat Dennings.
Yeah, I think
Big
she's
titties, that one.
really, really horrible. And the way she's supposed to be smart, and she's just
I can't stand her, man. I don't.
It's not enough to make me not watch the show because, like I said, I really like half of it. But
all the two huge reasons why I'd like.
But you don't see them and she's wearing a coat and a hat, and she's just a nerd. And
talk about her talent and her acting ability.
Oh, I see.
It's all about her jugs. If she didn't have those jugs, she would be a nowhere. I think we all know that.
Yeah. But it's not going to keep me from watching. There's only a couple of episodes left. I was thinking for a minute there about boycotting Disney, but then I'm not going to do that.
You need to start not giving a fuck, Tim.
About
things.
I haven't read that book yet, so I don't know how to do it.
I'm going to court for Woody Allen.
Yeah. I watched a movie that I had no clue about this movie. I thought it was new, and I didn't find out until long after I had watched it that it wasn't new. From 2017, You Were Never Really Here with Joaquin Phoenix is on Amazon Prime. And really interesting film, pre-Joker, but basically the same character. Guy lives with his mom, antisocial, went through a lot of trauma. The only thing about the film that bugged me is I forget the director's name, and she's directed a couple other things, but she did a really good job. The cinematography in this is great. You get a gritty feel of New York City that you pretty much only can get from a 70s movie. You know what I mean when I say that, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like that.
It was a Taxi Driver.
Yeah, it had a real Taxi Driver feel, real Taxi Driver Joker character feel to it. But the director allowed him to interpret. This is based on a book, and he said, "Well, I think the character ought to do this." And when you allow actors to do that, especially method types, it can get really over the top. So there were some points in the movie where Joaquin Phoenix, of course, overacted, or it was drawn out and really crazy. But all in all, I thought it was an interesting flick and worth watching.
What channel is that on?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Basically, he's a character that rescues girls, young girls from, or boys, I suppose, from the sex trade. You know, from being trafficked by these scumbags. And
I'm very familiar. Yes.
And they never came to my house. I would put him in a movie and he'd forget all about it and get him an Oscar. I watched Underneath the Grapefruit Tree, the CC Sabathia story, and that made me tear up a couple times. It's on HBO Max, documentary from last fall. Really, really good, even if you're not a Yankees fan or a Brewers fan or an Indians fan. I had no idea that he had heart problems.
Was Jeter in it?
He didn't really play with him that long, but yeah, there's shots of him and stuff. There's more. It's about him. It's him and his family and his wife and how dedicated of a family man he is, and his father who kind of abandoned the family when he was younger, but he never gave up wanting to be a baseball player or an athlete. And the reason it's called Underneath the Grapefruit Tree is because when he was a kid, he would pick grapefruits from his grandma's tree in California, put them in a basket, and then pretend he was a pitcher and throw them at a chair. And it's really cool how it unfolds, and just a decent guy. Like, he really overcame a lot of demons. You know, he got his World Series with the Yankees in 2009. But if you like baseball and you like a good story about a person who overcomes, you know, the bullshit they do to themselves, it's a good movie. Let's see. I listened to last week's Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast with Richard Mazur, who is I always like that guy. He's a great actor. He tells a lot of really good stories about working with various actors, Gene Hackman, of course, a little bit about One Day at a Time. And he talks a lot about John Carpenter and The Thing. And my staff pick, do you remember Richard Mazur?
Yeah.
Mazur or whatever? Yeah, he was Ms. Romano's boyfriend in the first season. Let's see. And then my staff pick is Assembly Required, and that begins tonight on the History Channel, or History, whatever it's called now. It's Tim Allen and Richard Karn host, and people build shit. So it's like Forged in Fire.
I want to watch that.
Yeah, it looks good. It's something you can just.
And there's like a Tool Time vibe, right?
Yeah. They have but the woman on the show is more of an expert than they are. So I like that twist, because the woman on Home Improvement was always a ditz, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is a good flip on that, and but it just looks cool, you know. And plus, it's just a different vibe than I love Forged in Fire, but it's always the same three dudes, right?
You mean you're talking about the
contestants? It's it's always the same three dudes. It's a Southerner and a guy from the Northeast and a guy from California. All of them are white, and one will have a beard. I mean, it's just the same every show. I love it, but it's the same every show. This show has men, women, different people from all walks of life, and it looks like it's a lot of fun.
You got to get more people interested in making swords.
Well, I would think people that make swords are going to be the libertarian dude.
It's very you're really stereotyping too.
I don't care. I'm allowed to stereotype. You can stereotype each other and not get in trouble for it. I'm not knocking the show. I watched 30 episodes. One season is 30 fucking episodes.
You're basically saying that if you're on Forged in Fire, that you storm the Capitol. That's basically what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying.
It's all people who don't trust big sword.
Yeah. I don't trust big swords. So anyway, yeah, the Tim Allen show looks good. I like that stuff, and I like watching people use their brains and manufacture stuff. So to me, it's a nice. It's maybe mashup.
It's giving Richard Karn some work too, so I support that.
Well, Richard Karn gets a lot of commercial voiceover work, don't you know? I hear
he's aged a moment.
No, he doesn't. Meanwhile, Tim Allen looks like he's 900 years old. Richard Karn's thin now, and he's like got darker hair. Like, hey, how you doing? I'm Richard Karn.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. Coming up in a couple of, I guess, in a week or two, we're going to be speaking with Waco O'Gwyn and Roger Black, both from Jeff. Go ahead and say
Paradise PD.
That's right. They have a new show, or they have a new development deal actually with Netflix. So we'll talk to them about that.
Cool.
And lots of other things coming up. Lots of surprises. Lots of stuff coming your way. Hey, Steph, please tell us about those wonderful dogs.
Well, I'm fosterless at the moment, but I will be getting my new foster on Saturday. Her name is Rosie.
Aww.
And she's heartworm positive, so she'll be hanging out here until she gets through her heartworm treatment for like 6 weeks or so like that. But so, this is what we do at Markville. We pull the dogs that nobody else will pull because it's expensive to do heartworm treatment. It's like $600.
Oof.
And some of us, you make a commitment to, you're going to keep this dog for probably a couple months because they have to be on crate rest. They can't get their hearts, they're, elevated, or they could die after they get the injection. So, but these dogs, when they're healthy, they are awesome. So if you are interested in adopting or helping us out, donating, fostering, what have you, go to barkvilledogrescue.org.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, Dustin. And we'll be back later on in the week with our second episode. But until that time, please remember to
keep it
canon. Don't date your girlfriend's daughter.
They say all good things come to an end.
What's that got to do with this show?